Hello, welcome to American Money System, where we explain how money actually works, not how it's supposed to work. If you value clear thinking about money and want more videos like this, subscribe now. This channel is for people who want clarity, not noise. Saving money is supposed to be the responsible thing to do. Spend less than you earn. Put the rest in the bank. Stay disciplined. Stay safe. But here's the uncomfortable question most people never stop to ask. If saving is working, why does it still feel like you're falling behind? And pay attention here, because the answer isn't what you've been told. For millions of people right now, saving money isn't making them safer. It's quietly making them poorer. Not overnight, not dramatically, but steadily, year after year. If you live in the US or Canada, you've probably felt this without fully naming it. You earn a paycheck. You pay your bills. You do what you're supposed to do. And yet, every year, the gap between effort and progress feels wider. Rent goes up. Groceries cost more. Gas, insurance, utilities, childcare, everything inches higher. And here's where it gets strange. Your savings might actually be growing, but your life doesn't feel any easier. That disconnect is the first warning sign. Here's the part most people never hear. The problem isn't that you're bad at saving. The problem is what saving actually does in the system you're living in. We're taught to think of saving as progress, as if money sitting still is money getting stronger. But money doesn't live in a vacuum. The world around it keeps moving. Prices adjust. Systems shift. And your savings are always being measured against that moving background. Think of it like this, and this analogy matters. Imagine walking on a treadmill that slowly speeds up every year. You're still walking. You're still putting in effort. But unless you increase your pace, you're actually falling backward relative to the room. That's inflation. Not dramatic, not loud, just persistent. This is where the mistake usually happens. Most people think inflation is just a number on the news. 4%, 6%. Something economists argue about. But inflation isn't theoretical. It's the silent erosion of purchasing power. It's why the same savings balance buys you less time, less flexibility, and fewer options than it did 5 years ago. And this is why that comforting assumption quietly fails. Traditional savings accounts are designed for safety, not growth. They protect your money from disappearing, but not from shrinking in real terms. If your savings earn 1 or 2%, while the cost of living rises faster than that, it compounds against you, slowly, invisibly, relentlessly. This is why saving feels productive, but often isn't progressive. It prevents collapse, but it doesn't create momentum. And over time, that creates a psychological trap. People assume the solution is more discipline, more sacrifice, fewer small joys. So they cut harder. They delay vacations. They postpone life. And here's the unsettling part. None of that fixes the underlying problem. Because the system doesn't reward stillness. It rewards motion. Money that circulates, adapts, and compounds tends to benefit from how the economy is structured. Money that sits still waits for permission from forces it can't control. This isn't about being reckless. And this distinction matters. Banks don't pay low interest on savings because they're villains. They do it because your savings aren't designed to work for you. They're designed to work for the system. Your money becomes cheap capital. You receive stability. And quietly, you absorb the cost of stagnation. If you never question this, the consequences don't arrive as a crisis. They arrive as limitation. Fewer options, less flexibility, more anxiety about the future. You become focused on preservation instead of positioning. You measure success by how much you haven't lost, rather than how many choices you've gained. This is why two people with the same income can end up in completely different places. Here's the reframe that changes everything, so don't miss this. Saving is not a strategy, it's a tool. Saving is for liquidity, for flexibility, for short-term stability. It buys you time and breathing room. That matters. But it was never designed to build wealth on its own. Treating it like it is creates false confidence and quiet disappointment. Once you see this, something important clicks. You weren't failing. You were using the wrong tool for the wrong purpose. So instead of asking, "How can I save more?" a better question becomes, "What job is my money supposed to do right now?" Some money is for safety. Some is for growth. Some is for learning. When all of it is forced into a single role, sitting still, it underperforms by design. This is where awareness beats effort. You don't need to obsess over every dollar. You need to understand the environment your dollars live in. Ask yourself this and pause on it. How exposed am I to rising costs? How dependent am I on fixed income? How flexible is my financial life if something changes? These questions don't demand immediate action. They demand clarity. And clarity compounds faster than willpower ever will. If you zoom out, the people who seem ahead aren't necessarily more disciplined. They're more aligned with how the system actually works. They understand that money isn't just a store of value. It's a relationship with time, risk, and opportunity. This doesn't mean abandoning savings. It means demoting it from hero to support role. At the beginning, we challenged the idea that saving automatically makes you safer. Now you can see why that belief feels emotionally comforting, but structurally fragile. Safety without adaptation slowly turns into vulnerability. The goal isn't to reject caution, it's to pair it with understanding. If this way of thinking feels calmer than the usual financial noise, that's intentional. There's no urgency to panic, just an invitation to see the system clearly. That's what American money system is about. Explaining how money actually works in the world Americans and Canadians live in today, without hype, without shortcuts, and without pretending the system is simpler than it is. I'll see you in the next one.